And so it says, and it continues to say, that as the crowd heard these people speaking in all these tongues, they are actually hearing them speak in their own native languages. So all the people from all these different places are hearing the Spirit, and these people talk by the power of the Spirit in their own language. And what's interesting is it says that they're saying or speaking the praises of God. They're not giving an evangelistic message to each single person, from those different languages. It says they're hearing the praises of God's words. And so these people, in the languages of all the people there, God is speaking through them, and they are proclaiming the praises of God. They are proclaiming God's power, God's works, and they were just praising God in all of the languages that these people are hearing. And what do they say? If you read through the account, some people are like, holy crap, how is this happening and how am I hearing? Aren't these people Galileans? Like, they don't know my language? And then the other people are like, I think they're drunk. And that's what's going on in this first scene. But what I got out of this, and when I investigated and looked at this, I see a promise-keeping God. This is what God was promising. In the book of John, Jesus says, I'm going to send the Holy Spirit. When I leave, I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit. You're not going to be left orphans. God will come and be with you and work through you. This is what he was promising. In Luke, at the end, Luke says that Jesus tells him, wait in Jerusalem. Wait there. Because God's going to come. The Holy Spirit's going to come on you. In the book of Acts, the first chapter, we see that scenario again when Jesus says, wait. The Holy Spirit will come on you and receive power. This is it. This is the God that keeps a promise. In the Old Testament, there was covenants. They had covenants. And a lot of times, between a covenant, if somebody gave up the covenant, or somebody, messed up the covenant on one side, it was punishable by death. They took the promises very seriously. Have you ever had somebody break a promise in your life? What's that feel like? Somebody that's really promised you something pretty near and dear to your heart. I've been doing a lot of weddings. I find it fascinating that this commitment, this thing that goes on is this eternal promise. As long as these people shall live, they are promising their lives to one another, no matter what happens. How many of those promises do we see are broken today? I watched, there was one wedding that the people wanted me to do. And I remember they asked me, I came and talked to them. They just needed somebody to do the deal, They just wanted the blessing, and then, that's all they wanted me for. They didn't want to really incorporate God into the relationship. I talked to them about that. I'm like, guys, I don't want to do your wedding. They ended up getting divorced. And this is not, this promise is coming. God takes this stuff really seriously. It's really fascinating to me that in the first century, in a wedding, if a husband wanted to marry a girl, well, it would have been a husband, but if a guy wanted to marry a girl, he would go, and at that time would pay a bride price. And I think the Hebrew word was the baton, I think was the name. And it was a price that person, that guy, would pay to marry the girl. So we would pay an enormous amount of money, a bunch of cows. My friend Patrick from Uganda, they still do that. It's like, oh yeah, if you want to marry a Rwandan girl, which he says are the prettiest in Africa, he says that you have to have a lot of cows in order to marry somebody from Rwanda. Which I find it fascinating that cultures still do that. But there was a huge price. And then the guy he'd pay that large sum, and then he would leave and go prepare a place for them to live. And then he would come back for her. And we see that that's exactly what Christ tells his disciples, doesn't he? He's like, I am going to go prepare a place for you. What is the price that he pays for his people? His own life. That was the bride price for him. He gave his own life. In that culture, when the husband went away to prepare a place, he would send a promise, another gift. I think it was called the mahar. And that gift would be sent to them, to that bride, promising that he would return. It's a promise that he would build a place where they were going to stay, and he would send this gift, promising his return. And That is exactly the model that Christ follows. He gives them the Holy Spirit.